House Report 110-136. For what purpose does the gentleman from Washington rise?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 10, printed in House Report 110-136, offered by Mr. Hastings of Washington.
Pursuant to House Resolution 382, the gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hastings, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this amendment would require the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, to report on a plan for fulfilling its infrastructure commitments at our national laboratories. I want to thank my 2 Washington State colleagues, Congressman Norm Dix and Congressman Dave Reichert, a member of the committee, for their co-sponsorship of this amendment. This amendment ensures that national laboratory infrastructure changes will not interrupt security programs needed by DHS. When DHS was established, it inherited facilities around the nation from other agencies, some of which were aging and in need of repair. These capital facilities include critical components involving radiological and nuclear countermeasures, threat vulnerabilities, and threat assessments, as well as work on biological and chemical countermeasures. In order for DHS to carry out its mission to protect our nation, it is critical that the department have the facilities that it needs. At the Pacific Northwest National Lab, or PNNL, in Washington State, critical DHS research and development will be transferred to new facilities as existing labs are torn down for environmental cleanup activities at the 300 area in the Hanford nuclear site in my district. In 2006, the DHS Undersecretary for Science and Technology signed an MOU with the Department of Energy and the National Nuclear Security Administration that established funding commitments for the agencies involved in the transition of PNNL's facilities from the 300 area to new lab space. This MOU underscores DHS's critical role in making sure national security-related work at PNNL will not be interrupted by this transition. Mr. Chairman, this amendment I have introduced is not only important to the state of Washington and my constituents, but also to our overall national security. Now, I understand that this has been accepted on both sides, and I want to thank the Ranking Chairman, Mr. Chairman Thomas, and the Ranking Member King for agreeing to agree with that, and I would yield to my friend from Houston.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to claim time in opposition to the amendment. However, I do not oppose it. In fact, would like to say a word, if I may, in support of it. I think that this is an appropriate amendment that Mr. Hastings has brought to the attention of the House. It is most appropriate that we have a strategic plan that will provide some leverage such that the expertise of the national labs can be properly utilized. This is a national plan. It is one that is most appropriate, and we support it, and we commend the gentleman for bringing it to the attention of the House.
Thank you. And I'd yield to the Ranking Member from New York.
I thank the gentleman from Washington for yielding. I commend him for his thoughtful amendment, and I strongly urge its adoption.
Yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentleman from Texas.
I yield back the balance of the time.
Gentleman from Texas yields back the balance of his time. All time for debate on the amendment having expired. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Washington State. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to.